from the bachelor degree in foreign languages in the Universidad de Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lorena Sanabria. I'm a student from the bachelor degree in foreign languages in the Universidad Distrital Francisco José Caldas. And today I'm going to be talking about a research proposal that is called Digital Storytelling for the Development of Emotional Intelligence Skills. Okay, so for starting, I'm going to do a short overview of what this project is about. Okay, so the project that I'm going to expose here is about using digital storytelling as a strategy to cope with depression in the adult classroom. This is because, according to the World Health Organization, depression and anxiety are the most common mental disorders in the world. In 2015, it was estimated that around 4.4% of the world population suffered from depression. This is a big problem if we consider that depression is ranked as the single largest contributor to global disability. Depression is more prevalent in countries with low incomes, such as is Colombia, and it can affect every person at any age. This includes children, this includes adolescents. And depression could represent disability for students since they will have more difficulties. And special education needs to fulfill a successful learning process for them. Children with depression belong to a group which is called emotionally disturbed students, and they belong to a group of students who need special and inclusive education. Here, with this strategy, by using digital storytelling, I will be seeking to increase emotional intelligence because people with higher emotional intelligence are better at managing depression, and emotional intelligence may help to diminish depression. Along with this, there have been some researchers that have pointed out to digital storytelling as an effective strategy to increase emotional intelligence because it will involve each student in the class and will attend to their needs while at the same time we can use the same tool as an instrument to develop language skills, social skills, among other things. This project is also working under the light of Education for All. So we as teachers must believe that all children can learn to high levels. And if we have this in mind, it is important to remark the great responsibility schools have to deal with having an inclusive education, which allows teachers to adapt their teaching strategies to the specific needs of students, making it possible for every student to learn with the appropriate support and guidance. Okay, so in the problem statement, or in the reasons also why I have chosen to work with this populational group, is because as time passes, students are increasing their IQ levels, but on the other hand, their emotional skills get worse every day. For example, me as a pre-service teacher and also as a student, I have noticed that depression is more frequent day by day in our educational context, and it is highly affecting all the people in the classrooms. Not only the students that suffer from depression are affected, but also their partners, and also we as teachers get affected on the strategies that we may use and to lead a learning process that could be successful. Depression can produce that students perform poorly at school and in several fields of their lives. So that is why it is important in inclusive education to take into account this populational group. For the research questions, we have these four questions. The first one, how can depression represent a disability for children and adolescents in the school environment? The second one, how digital storytelling can work as a tool to treat depression in the classrooms? The third one, what is the influence of emotional intelligence in preventing depression and generating a good environment in the classroom? And finally, the fourth question, is digital storytelling a useful tool for teaching English as a foreign language? Excuse me. For my research objectives, I have proposed to expose the worth of digital storytelling as a technological strategy for the 21st century classrooms, to show the extent to which digital storytelling can increase emotional intelligence as a strategy to cope with the students' depression, and finally, to expose how digital storytelling can be a useful tool for teaching English as foreign language, maintaining students' motivation. In the theoretical framework, we are going to talk about emotional disturbance. As I have mentioned, emotional disturbance is the same as saying mental disorders, but this term is more often used in educational contexts. It is a global concept that involves different types of emotional and behavioral affections, which do not find their origin in physical abnormalities in the brain. Here in the emotional disturbance, we may find disorders such as depression, such as anxiety, schizophrenia, and almost all the mental disorders that you can think of. The second concept that I have taken into account for the theoretical framework is depression. It can be defined as a mood disorder that can begin at any age and which is characterized by a persistent sad or irritable mood throughout the day. Then it is very important to talk about emotional intelligence. That is the ability to recognize our feelings and those of others, motivate ourselves, and manage emotions appropriately. I say that it is very important to talk about emotional intelligence because the purpose on using digital storytelling here in this proposal is to increase the levels of emotional intelligence for our students to develop strategies to cope with depression, to better manage their social abilities, and for them to be able to recognize their emotions. Finally, we have the term digital storytelling that may be defined as the use of new technologies for developing the art of telling stories. These stories are narratives that can include audio, images, videos, and a span of multimedia elements. Um, when we're talking about storytelling, we're going to mention there are 7 elements which conform it. We have, in the first place, point of view, then a dramatic question, emotional content, the gift of your voice, the power of the soundtrack, economy, and pacing. Having this in mind, we are going to give special relevance to the emotional content and the gift of your voice, because this enables students to talk about strong feelings and give value to them as a method to develop emotional intelligence. Besides this, digital storytelling works as a powerful tool these days that almost every student is immersed in the world of new technologies. And this will help them to enhance their skills in fields such as research, writing, organization, technology, presentations, interviews, interpersonal skills, problem solving skills, and assessment skills. In the review of literature or what has been done, I have selected especially 4 topics, starting with emotional disturbance. How is the student performance affected by the mental disorders, more specifically by depression? Students with emotional disturbance or with depression may represent a big challenge for teachers and per se the whole classroom. Um, some studies indicate that compared with their other partners, students with emotional disturbance may be far more at risk of joining criminal groups, dropping out of school, getting pregnant at earlier ages, committing suicide, abusing drugs, and being involved in criminal activities. So, this is why students with emotional disturbance are considered to be people that have to be taken into account in inclusive education. In terms of emotional intelligence, it has been shown that students that have the ability to differentiate their emotions, recognize their feelings, and manage themselves no matter their emotional state. About emotional intelligence, it has been shown that students that have the ability to differentiate their emotions, recognize their feelings, and manage themselves no matter their emotional state show lower rates of depression and anxiety. That is why it is important to have in mind emotional intelligence while we are dealing with depression. Then we are going to talk about education for all. That is a certain paradigm that is seeking to give education to everybody, no matter their conditions, no matter if they are suffering from a mental disorder or any other affection. Everybody must have a proper education in their lives. And finally, talking about digital storytelling, there are many studies that have been conducted that show that digital storytelling works as a tool for increasing emotional intelligence, and also it works as a strategy to teach foreign languages in the classroom. I'm going to do a special emphasis now at this point to talk about why digital storytelling is a useful tool to teach foreign languages. And it is because as we are working with multimedia elements, we are going to work with audio, we are going to work with images, we are going to work with writing. We will be working on the several language skills of a foreign language. And we can use narratives to work on what is interesting for the students. For the research methodology, I have used documentary research. So this is a method that is conducted using official documents or special relevance for doing research. This type of research does not need a populational sample, so I have not used population for conducting this research proposal. I have just recollect a certain number of articles and revise them having certain parameters in mind, such as the keywords, the abstracts, and the results or conclusions that were shown in each article. In the findings, we have that digital storytelling has become a useful strategy in classrooms since it reinforces different aspects of our students' lives, which means that its positive effects go beyond the academic field. Among the benefits that can be attributed to digital storytelling, we find that students increase in research skills, increase organizational skills, and acquire a greater interest in content being taught. Along with this, digital storytelling also works as a tool for increasing emotional intelligence, as it is a tool for talking about their feelings, about their personal experiences, about their lives, about their interests, and also it works to develop macrolinguistic skills in learning a foreign language. These are reading, writing, listening, and speaking. This thanks to the multimodalities that this type of narratives offer to us. Finally, in the conclusions, we're going to talk about what benefits brings digital storytelling into the classroom. So, digital storytelling is one of the sources that should be used to increase emotional intelligence in students because it helps to bring into the classroom some topics with moral responsibility and teachings for their daily lives. These stories may also help teachers to come up with topics such as self care or emotions, which are themes that, in the same way, are included in the ESL curriculum. Digital storytelling is not only useful for developing emotional intelligence, as we have seen, but also for learning a foreign language in young learners because it is a fun way to learn a language and teachers can get closer to their students' interests and their likes. Also, it is a way to motivate students and to develop their cognitive language skills, being a fun and motivating, memorable and lasting experience. Digital storytelling also works as a tool to increase social awareness in the classroom and can be used to ensure inclusive education. Finally, it is important to mention that another point to have into account is that teachers must recognize that digital storytelling is a strategy to which may contribute to reduce depression and to help students better identify and manage their emotions, to increase their emotional intelligence. Despite this, it is clear that this is not the cure for this emotional disturbance, and that we as teachers could not assume the role of a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and we must work together with interdisciplinary fields to better manage these type of situations. Finally, these are the articles with the ones I have worked to conduct this research proposal. So I hope the information was clear and that you have enjoyed and learned about this presentation. Thank you very much. That was everything for now. Goodbye.